Thank you. So we continue on with the talk on the Platform Sutra. First of all is the translation. Good friends, what is prajna? In Chinese, it is called wisdom. Now, of course, now we're talking in English. But that is what it says in the Platform Sutra. To always practice wisdom in all places, at all times, and in all moments of thoughts, without silliness. This is the practice of prajna. A single moment's silliness and prajna is eradicated. A single moment's wisdom and prajna is generated. The people of this world are stupid and deluded and do not see prajna. They speak of prajna in their mouths, but are always stupid in their minds. They always say to themselves, I am cultivating prajna. In every moment of thought, they speak of emptiness without recognizing true emptiness. Prajna is without shape or characteristics. It is the mind of wisdom. To have such an understanding is called the wisdom of prajna. What is paramita? This is Sanskrit. In English, it is arriving at the other shore, which is translated from Chinese. If one understands the meaning of Buddhism, one transcends samsara. If one is attached to one's sensory realms, samsara is activated. Just as waves arrive on water. This is called this shore. Detached from phenomena, just as water continuously flowing smoothly is the other shore. Therefore, it is said to be paramita. Well, in English, it's quite easy to understand. Well, to elaborate a little bit more, is to say all our virtuous friends here, prajna is a concept. And this concept is to tell us about the principle of practice. And how do you carry on this principle to practice? And what it will come to you? What kind of phenomena will there be? So this word here, prajna, you could say It is wisdom, but the wisdom is not of the worldly wisdom. It is transcended all other kinds of wisdom. That is to say that in all time and space, every thoughts, every time is this so-called clarity, illumination. There's no thinking of so-called stupidity or ignorance. There's no thinking of being petty. The mind is not crooked. And to work it out or to carry it out with compassion as well as with wisdom. Now, this kind of wisdom and compassion is to shine upon other people. And it is called the wonderful practice of prajna. In general, if we have a deluded thoughts, then we are separated from prajna. On the contrary, as long as this moment is with illumination, with clarity, and that moment right there, prajna is there. And this kind of illuminated will shine on boundlessly. But for general people, we have all kinds of habitual tendencies. We are with ignorance. Therefore, we cannot feel or cannot see prajna because of their habitual tendency. Then they talk about emptiness, but the behavior, the practice itself is called existence. They are always or constantly covered up with their own ignorance. And they think that they're practicing prajna. So they speak of this emptiness to other people. But actually, the meaning of prajna here, it cannot be really expressed by words, because prajna is without form. And this is a kind of wisdom that is also called no self nature. If at least we are able to understand like this, then itself is the wisdom of prajna. So further on, it said, what is paramita? Paramita actually is the Sanskrit word from India. In translation, it becomes reaching the other shore. That is to say, we leave from this mind of birth and death, arising and perishing. And it goes beyond all kinds of arising and perishing phenomena. As long as our mind is attached to one single phenomenon, then this so-called birth and death, arising and perishing, will arise. Just like an example of water. This shore here, the water is with a lot of waves. But the other shore, the water is flow smoothly, continuously. So when our mind with attachment, or we are wavered by whatever phenomenon that's there, and our mind moves, then right at that moment, we are in this shore of vexations. We are in this shore that is within the three realms. Now, right at that moment, if your mind leaves from vexations, then itself, it is to the other shore. So at that moment, there is no thinking of this or that, referring to this shore and the other shore. Therefore, even if one is in this world, there's carefree, there's no boundaries, there's no obstacle. Our mind is just like a water that flows smoothly, continuously. And this is exactly the meaning of paramita. So this prajna here, we mention it as wisdom, but there are two kinds of wisdom. One is with outflow. Outflow here referring to leaks. It leaks. The other one is without outflow. If it is prajna, it must be without outflow. And exactly because of that, there's no translation, but just directly using this word, prajna. If we just use wisdom here, then it will lose some of the contents in this word prajna. And it is easier for people to think just like any other kinds of wisdom. So you may ask, what is the difference between the wisdom without outflow and the wisdom with outflow? What are the differences right there? The wisdom with outflow, which is leaks, then the self, it's there. The self-centeredness is right there. So if there's a self there, what is it that you can do? What is it that you experience? Well, things like there are things that you don't know, all of a sudden you know. And usually we thought about the great thinker, the great philosopher, and even with some religious leaders. Well, you can consider that they have wisdom. So this is with outflow, the wisdom with outflow. But the wisdom without outflow, it's called prajna. And this prajna is the so-called no self, or use another word, no or non-egocentric. So there's no, not me, there's not others, and there's not sentient beings. And there's no any of the so-called phenomenon. Although in our mind, there's no self there, but it behaves and it responds very smoothly. And all the demand or whatever that is necessary, they will just respond right there. And it is in accordance with the need or the hope of sentient beings that they give response. They give help and even to share with them the teachings. And this is called prajna. So that part is called, one is called the with outflow, and then the other one is without outflow. I think you at least understand, right? Is it okay? Or is it too difficult? Too hard to understand? So people may ask, how do we experience this wisdom of prajna? And without just from knowing from words, how do we do that? Well, what we do is according to the Platform Sutra. It said that constantly, anytime, any space, we try so that we will not disturb, we will not waver by our environment, by any situation that is coming in front of us. And we put down all the attachments from our mind. So it is to say, anytime, any place that within ourselves, there is the so-called no self right there. There's no others, and there's no right and wrong, good and bad, long and short, so on, etc. Then this is the person with wisdom. And the person with wisdom, they are like, their mind is like a bright mirror. And it is not wavered by any kind of wind. Now, this wind here referring to the vexation with that within ourselves, this kind of winds. There are many kinds of winds, jealous wind, angry winds, things like that. So because they were not disturbed, they were not wavered by the winds, so there's no waves. So this wave is what is caused by all the feelings, all this emotional feeling within ourselves, it's kind of waves. And this kind of waves could be referred to having no wisdom. So this is to experience, or we need to carry out this so-called no self within ourselves and put down our attachments. Another thing is that it also practiced so that anytime we need to reflect on ourselves. Say, for example, if we already learned the teachings from Buddhism and we heard about the teachings, and then although we cannot do to a point where our mind is not waver at all, but at least what we could do is we reflect on ourselves, look at ourselves more. If our mind moves with following the emotional things in there, right there, reflect on ourselves. I should be practicing no self. And at that moment that you are talking to yourself like this, then our mind will settle down. Although we are just like what the Platform Sutra said, that they speak of prajna in their mouths, but are always stupid in their minds. Now, this stupidity referring to ignorance. And ignorance itself is the main vexation that we have. So talking about wisdom prajna, but in our mind, we have this ignorance, we have all kinds of vexations there. In that moment, right there, then maybe we could do is that I said I practice prajna, saying that I constantly having emptiness in my thought, but I don't recognize what is truly emptiness. If you reflect on things like that, again, you just have a thought about this, then it is the way to practice so that we will not follow our emotional things. So saying that I practice prajna, I constantly talking about emptiness, but I don't realize emptiness. So what I'm seeking for actually is the Dharma. I'm seeking for the prajna right there. I should not go with my emotional feeling, right? Another thing is that this prajna is very important here. They said that it has no form. Prajna has no form, no characteristics. And this is exactly the mind of wisdom. Because prajna, we cannot really describe it. We cannot really use any kind of form to show it. So all we could say is that there's no vexation within ourselves. Not only that there's no vexation, but our mind is always very clear. Everything is very clearly in front of us, then itself is wisdom. So because the mind is so clear that anytime we have vexations, we could use this clarity of the mind, or we could use this sword of wisdom to sever, to chase away these vexations. If we continue on doing this, then you could say that we are in accordance with prajna. It is just like Layman Pang saying that seeking outwardly is not clever. No thought is the family treasure. If seeking Buddha Dharma outwardly those behave upside down. Okay, this is the first part. And then the second part is that even prajna is a false name. One is not supposed to rely on words. All forms are illusional. No form is real form. So Layman Pang, referring to the layman who already enlightened. First of all, he's telling us that not to seek outwardly. This is not a good move. And no thought is a family treasure. You're referring to, it doesn't mean that you don't have any thoughts at all. It just means that there is no vexation within ourselves. And that itself is the treasure of the family. You should treasure it. It's right there with you. So if we seek Buddha Dharma outwardly, then supposedly our mind, our thinking is upward. And it's that it's upside down. So this is the first part. The second part, it even go further on. Even prajna is a false name. Here it refers to the word prajna itself. It's just a word. It's not the real prajna. And we are not supposed to attach to this word, because it's that one is not supposed to rely on words. But we should have this with us all the time. So it continues on saying that all forms are delusional. No form is real form. Now again, this no form doesn't mean that it is not there. No form just means that it is not constantly. It is not changing. It's always there. So this is not the right understanding, but it's continue on changing. So no form is real form. We have to recognize that or realize that. Then we are realizing what is real form. So talking a little bit more about prajna paramita. So the main teaching of Buddhism is to let practitioner practice accordingly with prajna, so that we could we could move from this shore to the other shore. So to understand this, what is it that is this platform sutta is telling us is not to leave from prajna. Therefore, well, for the whole, later on we come to this part. Then the sixth patriarch always telling us to recite this Maha Prajna Paramita. Interesting enough is that in the morning service that we do every day, there is a part that we chant this Maha Prajna Paramita daily. In Chinese, it is called Mo He Bo Re Bo Lo Mi. Probably if you do the morning service, in the retreat, then you will find it. Actually, this is referring to Maha Prajna Paramita. So the meaning of Maha Prajna Paramita is to live from birth and death, not to attach to any of the phenomena. So it says that if one understands the meaning, one transcending samsara. If one is attached to one's sensory realms, samsara is activated. So if we really understand this paramita, the meaning of it, then we could really live from the so-called life and death. If we don't understand this, then we will be attached to all the phenomena. Then we cannot live from birth and death. So this meaning here, if you understand the meaning, this meaning here referring to what? Referring to the content of prajna. And this attached to the sensory realms, referring to the vexation realms or the vexation phenomena. As long as there is attachment, it doesn't matter if it is attached to the good one or attached to the bad one, or the attachment of the five desire, or even to seek for liberation, to seek for enlightenment. They are all called the attachments to phenomena. So therefore, this phenomena here, referring to there are vexation phenomena, and also referring to the enlightenment phenomena. And the phenomena of being possessed by evil phenomena. So either is vexation phenomena, enlightenment phenomena, evil phenomena, they are all phenomena. But there are people, well, in general, they can't even distinguish between enlightenment phenomena, vexation phenomena, evil phenomena. Well, so any one of these phenomena could be the evil phenomena. The one who possesses prajna is the one who is with wisdom. They will not attach to any of the phenomena. So in the Platform Sutra, it is saying that this shore and the other shore, they use it as an analogy. It is just like waves arise on water. That means this shore. That is to say, if within ourselves we are full of vexation, then it's just like water with waves. What kind of vexation is that? Well, this is all our emotional things. This is our attachment. All these referring to the waves. Therefore, it is called this shore. This shore here referring to we do not live from our vexations. So sentient beings are always with vexations. And therefore, we take this as this shore. But if we leave from this vexation and we could reach the state of no self, no vexations, and to reach the prajna, then it is called the other shore. So we may ask yourself, is there a real thing that is called the other shore? So if we are really discussed about whatever that we have right now, and we work very hard to reach the other shore, so where will you be? Say, for example, the living condition right now I'm in is very bad. They're so noisy and people moving around. I can't really do my practice. I can't really meditate. So at that moment, which shore are you in? So you may think that, oh, why don't I just leave this place? This is really in the ocean of suffering. If we just leave from there, that area there, could you really reach the other shore? Well, in the Platform Sutta again, later on, it also said that this shore is the other shore. The other shore never leave from this shore. And it also said, Buddha Dharma is within this world. Do not seek the teaching from the other place for enlightenment. This is to say that, well, prajna itself never leave from vexations. I hope you can understand this here. Well, there are examples of people who are so worried too much about their children. especially immigrants, that they really want to raise the children to be an outstanding person. And when they raise them, they find it's very difficult for them to really tell them, study hard, study more. How would you be in the future if you don't study? And it gives a lot of pressure to the child. And if they come and seek for advice from our teacher, well, our teacher will say, we'll first of all talk to the child. And then the child said that, I don't know why my parents just tell me to study. I feel so upset. It is like I'm doing this for them. It's not for me. I don't feel it. So this is to say that the parents should change their attitude first, and to find out more of the child, to see what exactly is that they are inclined to. What is their interest? And let them choose for themselves. We don't have to worry too much about themselves. Even in the future, they could be broken, they could become members of the gangsters. We passed away already. You can't do much. But now, at least, you let them be more doing feeling of themselves. They have the way of surviving. So we don't have to worry too much about these things. Of course, there are more cases that are like this. And I will stop here.